All right, so we up in here. The shock exchange, of course. This is Trump and the GE. This is Kamala mimics Lil Woody in Trump debate. So the debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump finally happened earlier this week, and Kamala, seemed like she had been skirting the debate for a while, the same way Joe Biden tried to avoid debating Trump 3.5 years ago. And he had a reason why he couldn't answer the question, because he had a mask on when, during COVID. So people gave him a pass. But Kamala couldn't answer questions. She's very evasive. She raised a lot of straw man arguments. She deflected, turned the questions back on Trump and tried to make it about him and his record and whether he was racist or not, and something about Charlottesville and tiki torches and something about January 6th. So she was very evasive, as if she was on the witness stand. And she didn't really answer key questions about the economy, about the border, security, so on and so forth. And if she can't clearly state her policies at this point, then it seems to be, the American public still may have a lot of questions. And Jake Tapper, right after the debate, Jake Tapper, CNN, they were all giddy. They were all cheering for Kamala, saying she trounced Trump. And then the next day, Jake Tapper had a different tone. Because Trump and the G, right after the debate, Trump and the G, we paused through the debate and we discussed how she was evasive on certain questions. She refused to answer questions about the economy and the border, so on and so forth. And right after the debate, and the next day, Jake Tapper sounded like us. He clearly watched Trump and the G and changed his stance. And so Kamala sounds a lot like Little Woody, the star witness for the prosecution in the Young Thug trial. Young Thug and the YSL group are under investigation for racketeering in Atlanta. And the star witness, young Little Woody, sounds very evasive on the witness stand. And he maybe figured out a way to not answer questions, but also not perjure himself at the same time. So I'm going to walk you through how some of the questions Kamala avoided, and show the juxtaposition between her posture and being evasive versus Little Woody. So she clearly took cues from Little Woody as well. So here, I'm trying to share my screen. This is Jake Tapper discussing Kamala Harris's evasiveness during the debate.
Vice President Harris began the debate by punting the first question on the economy.
Do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
It went on from there. Despite the economy being the number one issue facing the country, the sitting vice president generally reverted to talking points about a few of her policy proposals. Even Harris allies today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected. Senator Bernie Sanders will be here in a second to talk about more about the need for her to fill in some of those blanks.
All right, so she immediately pivoted to Kamala immediately pivoted to, I was born a middle class kid, and my mother worked hard to raise us, which didn't answer questions about the economy. So here's Little Woody. He's asked questions about his immunity deal with the prosecution.
Hey, look at me like that.
Okay. Mr. Copeland, isn't it true that you're supposed to be testifying under an immunity agreement?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't have a clue about none of this stuff. I told y'all from the start, y'all to put me in here. Like, I don't comprehend. I done told y'all that time after time. I don't know what the immunity agreement is. I don't have a clue. Like, I'm up under so much pressure. Like, man, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer y'all question because I don't know what type. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to be as truthful as possible, and y'all keep going back into the past. I told y'all when I was talking to y'all in the back, man, I have lied. Y'all don't put me up on here telling me that I gotta be truthful, and I'm telling y'all, man, I don't know, man. I'm afraid for my life. Every time y'all call me here, I think y'all could take my life, take my freedom. And at this point, I can't call on nobody for help. I don't know what's going on.
Were you told before you testified that anything you testified to in the courtroom could not be used against you?
Can you say that again?
Before you took the stand, were you told that anything that you testified to in court could not be used against you?
What you mean?
Before you took the stand, were you told by myself, Ms. Love, anyone sitting at this table, that anything you testified to could not be used against you?
Anything I testify to can't be used against me?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, last week, didn't you ask the judge? You turned around and you asked her, nothing I said could be used against me, right? And you asked the judge.
Okay.
Okay. And isn't it true that under this immunity agreement, you were told that you could be charged with perjury?
You say I could be charged with who?
Perjury.
I don't even know what perjury is.
Okay. Were you told also in this immunity agreement that you could be charged if you committed false swearing?
I was told, I asked specifically so I can understand. I asked you, I said, what happened when y'all locked me up? Y'all told me two things I go to jail for. If I plead the fifth, and if I say that I had committed a crime that I didn't do.
Okay.
So I don't know what perjury mean. I don't know. I mean, I'm afraid for my life. And I told y'all that. I told it to my lawyer. I tell it to the judge. I tell it to everybody. Y'all got me up here. I don't know what's going on. And like I said, for the crimes that y'all charged me with, I went to jail. I did all my time for it. Y'all still.
Okay, so Lil Woody answered 18 questions, none of which were asked, and he was very truthful too. He said a mouthful. He said, "I'm afraid for my life." And Kamala Harris looked like she was afraid for her life as well. And she was frightened to death. And he said that I can't call anybody for help. And Kamala Harris couldn't call anybody for help to help her answer those questions about the economy. So she was clearly challenging with Lil Woody. So here's Ms. Harris on, as you know, when she's asked questions about the border, questions that she knew was coming. She's been in office for 3.5 years. She can't give a clear answer.
Vice President Harris began generally reverted to talking points about a few of her policy proposals. Even Harris allies today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected. Senator Bernie Sanders will be here in a second to talk about more about the need for her to fill in some of those blanks. On the border, another vulnerable issue for Harris, she also dodged.
Would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay, that wasn't the question. When asked how she would break through the Israel-Hamas war stalemate, Harris said this.
We need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Okay, but again, how? Vice President Harris began the...
Okay, so she was evasive on those questions. Key questions that she knew was coming, that Trump gave clear, concise answers to. And here's Lil Woody describing, sort of why some of the previous statements he made about members of the YSL group may or may not have been true.
So it may seem like I'm trying to help Doug out. I'm not trying to help him out. I don't care nothing about him, what he got going on, nothing. I care about the truth. The truth was I was going through a phase in my life, and I have put all the blame on him. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he got going on. But y'all got me on the stand, and I'm telling the God honest truth. Leave me out of this. I made all these stories up, put the blame on him to get myself out of the situation because the police told me they want a big fish, and I'm a little fish. They ain't who I want. So when they told me that, my only motive was to convince them that I'm telling the truth about this guy right here, and I'm not.
Okay, so look what he says. Leave me out of this. He clearly doesn't want to be in court. You're dragging him in there, and getting him to answer questions like almost like pulling teeth. Getting Kamala Harris to answer questions, it's like pulling teeth. So we know why Lil Woody's in court because they dragged him in there. Why is Kamala Harris there? If she doesn't want to answer questions about her record or her qualifications or about her policies, why even show up? That's Trump in the G. Kamala mimics Lil Woody and Trump debate. Thank you.